So, before we jump into interpretations, let us do a quick recap. So, these are the things which will be used in interpretation, and it would be a good idea if you can take out your notes regarding these topics or the handouts so that you can keep them ready for references. So, just a quick recap: grahas or the planets can be natural benefics or natural malefics. Natural significators, house significators, bhavakaraka, temporary benefics or temporary malefics. So these are basically if they own Kendra or Kona, then they are temporary benefics. If they own 6 8 12 or 3 6 8 12, then they're temporary malefics. Houses can be Kendras 1 4 7 10, Konas 1 5 9, neutrals 2 11, Dusthanas 3 6 8 12, Trik 6 8 12, or Upachaya 3 6 10 11. And the planetary states are determined by exaltation, uh, being in its own sign, being in a friendly sign, being in a neutral sign, being in an enemy sign, or in a debilitation Rashi. Also through retrogression and combustion, and also through directional strength, Digbala. So we'll do the first verse of the chapter 15 of Faladipika, and we will see how this interpretation can be made only by one single verse. So this is a foundation course, so we'll not go into advanced interpretations, but we will definitely be able to make some kind of predictions, or you can see some kind of interpretations from coming out from here. So what does this say? The first verse says that all bhavas means houses, will give rise to exclusively good results if occupied or aspected by benefics. Benefics means benefic planets or their own lords. So, if the Bhava Lord is occupied by the Bhava Lord or aspected by the Bhava Lord, it will give exclusive good results. Or by the planets owning benefic houses. So, planets who are lords of benefic houses, that is 1 4 7 10 or 1 5 9. So, if the planets are owning benefic houses and they are occupying or aspecting the house, then exclusively good results will come, provided such houses are without the aspect or association of malefics. So there is no malefic aspect on them or association with malefic aspect. So if this thing works, then the bhava should give a good result. Now, even if it is not perfect, like there is some malefic aspect, we will see that the results are positive, and we'll see in case studies further. Now, what does it say now? This will be so even if malefics own the houses concerned. So, for example, malefics are Saturn in Mars. So, if Saturn is there, and let's say Capricorn is the house, Rashi in that house, if Saturn is aspecting its own house, because it says aspecting by the overlords, it doesn't matter if it is malefic, it will still give a good result. So Saturn aspecting or in its own house will give a good result, exclusively good result. The good effect of the houses will be certain if the planets involved are strong, that is, not in their debilitation constellation, nor combust, nor in an enemy's constellation. So, what does it mean? The planets, the benefic planet are not debilitated, they are not an enemy sign, they are not combust, or the lords are not debilitated or combust or enemy constellation, or the planets owning benefic houses are not debilitated or combust or an enemy constellation. So let's try to use only these conditions, and this is quite a handful to start with. Let's see what all interpretations can be done in the case studies. So this is a chart of India, the free India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. He became Prime Minister for 3 years, a very popular figure. So let's see what his chart says. So, what is the ascendant sign? The ascendant sign is 4, it's Cancer. And who is the Lord of Cancer? The Lord of Cancer is Moon. And Moon is in its own house. So, one condition is fulfilled, that the Lord of the house is either associated or aspecting its own house. So, that's a tick, yes. Let's see what else is there. Is Saturn aspecting this house? No. Is Mars aspecting this house? No. What about Venus and Mercury? No. Sun? No. Jupiter also is not aspecting. So that's it. So there is no malefic or benefic aspect, but this alone is a strong factor that makes the first house very strong. And remember, first house is for fame. It's for it's your individuality, it's you. So if first house is strong, that means you have the capability to get more fame, to become famous. Let's see further. uh, Look at this fourth house. The fourth, what is the sign? This is 7 is Libra. And who owns the Libra? Venus. So Venus is in its own house. So again, we have one more house where the Lord is in the house. Secondly, we have Mercury also in the fourth house. Mercury is a benefic, and we saw that Mercury, when with a benefic, will act like a benefic. When it is a malefic, it will act like a malefic. So Mercury is with Venus, two benefics in this house. The house lord is in this house. So it's a very, very powerful house now. Now, let us look at some other things like what are the aspects. So, does Saturn aspect this house? Let me see. Saturn is one, two, three. Saturn has a third aspect on this house. Okay. And Rahu. Rahu is having one, two, three, four, five, fifth aspect on this house. So there are two malefic aspects also happening on this house. So it's two benefic versus two malefic. But we learn that two positives and two negatives, they won't cancel out. The results are cumulative. Also, we will try to see how the condition of the planet is. So, where is Saturn? Saturn is in Leo, sign of Sun, which is an enemy sign. So, Saturn will not be a powerful planet here. So, although it is aspecting, but it's not powerful enough to really cause too much of damage. Rahu is in Gemini. Now, Rahu in Gemini, some people say it's strong. So, we do have one strong malefic aspect. But look at Venus, Swarashi, own house, very strong. Mercury in sign of Venus, friendly sign, very strong. Ascendant Lord, own sign, very strong. So these two houses appear to be really, really, really strong. Let's look one more house. We look at the 10th house. Let's see what's happening with the 10th house. Two benefics aspecting this house, very powerful. Okay, so this 10th house, the house of career, the house of fame, automatically becomes very powerful. What else? What is the sign? This is Aries. Who's the Lord of Aries? Mars. And is Mars aspecting the house? Well, Mars has three aspects. One is fourth, one is seventh, and one is eighth. So, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. And Mars is aspecting its own house. So, the 10th house also becomes extremely powerful, even though Mars is a malefic planet and is owning its own house. It will exclusively give good results. So the career house is very strong. Look at Venus also here. Venus has Digbala. Venus and Moon in fourth house, they have Digbala. So this Venus is also extremely powerful. So he has a very strong. And do we have any negative benefic aspects? Saturn, let's see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Saturn has aspect or third from itself, seventh from itself, and 10 from itself. So there's no malefic aspect here. Rahu doesn't have a malefic aspect here because Rahu's ninth aspect falls here, it doesn't fall here. So there are no malefic aspects. Such a strong career. He is having a very, very strong career house, although there are no planets. But you know that this guy is having, and the three Kendra houses are so strongly placed. So this is clearly a very powerful chart. Now we are not going into some advanced interpretation. What are the yogas in there? Because we have not done this, but with a simple single verse, look at how much of interpretations we are able to do, and we can see that how powerful this whole chart is. Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest of all time football player in the world. So let's look what's happening in his chart. So his ascendant sign, it's 10. What is this? This is Capricorn. Who is the lord of ascendant? It's Saturn. What is Saturn doing? So Saturn is retrograde. So a retrograde planet becomes very strong. It's like an exalted planet. And what is it doing here? So Saturn has three types of aspects, and its third aspect, one, two, three, is in its own house. Saturn is a malefic, but we read that even if malefics own the house, but if they aspect it, it will exclusively give good results. So we are getting very good results because of Saturn aspect here. What else is there? Is there a benefic aspect there? We don't see a benefic aspect here. Is there a malefic aspect? So Saturn is one malefic planet, other is Mars. Is Mars aspecting? Let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Yes, Mars has an aspect. So Mars is a malefic aspect, which might cause some kind of a problem in his health or fame or something. But that's one aspect. But the Saturn is actually making it very strong. What is the condition of Saturn? Saturn is in Scorpio. What is the relation between Saturn and Mars? They are neutrals. They are neutrals. So Saturn is not in a bad position. What more? What more? What more? Look at this house. Venus and Moon, two benefics. And look at this Moon in Taurus. It's exalted. Venus in Taurus, own sign. And what are they doing? They are aspecting the ascendant lord. So look at this condition of ascendant lord. Very powerful ascendant lord. Its aspect on the ascendant is, there's no aspect on the ascendant, but look at the aspect on ascendant lord. It's so powerful. It's lifting of the ascendant again. So makes Lionel, famous and popular figure across the world. So look at this thing, and also the fifth house. Look at the fifth house. It itself is very powerful because Venus is looking at its own house. It's associated with its own house, and Moon is in exalted state in this house. And Moon is the lord of seventh house, sitting in fifth. It's Raj Yoga. Anyway, we have not done yogas, but look at this. This is a very powerful house that we are looking at. So, this axis of 5 and 11, fulfillment of desires, wishes, popularity, fame. This comes from this 11th axis, and fifth is creativity, skills, and intellect. All those things come. So this axis, if it is a very strong axis, then also you have a very good chance of getting a lot of fame. Cameroon Diaz. Let's look what's happening here. So the sign, what is the sign here? This sign is Gemini, number 3. And what is the Lord of Gemini? Lord of Gemini is Mercury. And what is happening here? We have Venus. Venus is a benefic. Venus is sitting here as a benefic. So ascendant is occupied by a benefic, and this benefic is actually friendly to uh, Mercury. It owns the fifth house, and it's also from the house lordship. It is a positive planet. So the first house is very strong. What else? Jupiter. Look at this Jupiter. Jupiter is also benefic, directly looking at the first house. So it's two benefics looking at the first house, automatically lifting the fame, the popularity to newer heights. And what is the condition of this Jupiter? Jupiter is in 9, that is Sagittarius. So Rashi. So Jupiter is so powerful. It's in a Surashi sign. It's bound to give good results. So the condition of Jupiter is very good. What else? Jupiter is the lord of seventh house. It's a Kendra house, so it's going to give good results. So all good things happening to the first house, and the first house is popularity, fame. Let's see what else is happening. Is there any malefic aspect? Let's look at Mars. So Mars is not aspecting this first house, so there's no malefic aspect. Moon is not aspecting. Rahu is not aspecting the first house, and Saturn also is not aspecting this house. So it's devoid of any negative aspects. So this is extremely strong, first house that she's having. And let's look at the 5-11 axis. So fifth house lord Venus. Venus is placed in Lagna. That's not bad, nothing wrong. Moon is a benefic. It's far away from the sun, so it's a benefic, and it's aspecting the fifth house. So fifth house is not weak. It's relatively strong, and there are no negative aspects also in the fifth house. So fifth 11 axis looks quite good, and the fifth house is also aspected by Moon and also Jupiter. Two benefics aspecting this house, very powerful. Any malefics aspect? Well, there's no Rahu aspect, there's no Saturn aspect, there's no Mars. Although Mars aspect would have worked much better because this is Aries, but there's no negative aspects. Fifth 11 axis, very strong axis that is getting developed for desire fulfillment, wish fulfillment. And look at this Venus in first house, beauty, profession of beauty. She is the most one of the most beautiful stars, most bankable Hollywood stars. So very evident. And look at the sun. Sun is Swarashi, very powerful. It's going to give good results. And this also is the house. This also is the house of self-expression. So the self-expression house, the owner of the house is in its own in a house. It's making the house strong. Now Mars may be causing some kind of problem, but Mars is, what is the situation of Mars? It combusts. It's weak. So Mars is not able to create too much of a problem here. And this self-expression, artistic expression is very powerful here. Angelina Jolie. So what do we have here? We have a number 4 Cancer sign. Where is the Lord of Cancer? Moon. Moon is in ninth house, and it's with Jupiter and Mars. So let's look at how is this house placed. We have a Venus. Clearly, the beauty is there. So Venus is there in the first house. And is there any other benefic aspect? Let us see Jupiter. Jupiter's fifth aspect. One, two, three, four, five. So two benefic aspects. Two benefic aspect on the first house. This is also making it very powerful. Are there any malefic aspects? Saturn, no aspect. Mars is not aspecting this, and yes, we do have Rahu. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, ninth aspect of Rahu. So that is causing some trouble, but otherwise, two benefics aspecting this house makes the first house very very powerful. How is the situation of the ascendant lord? It's with a benefic in the ninth house. And look at this ninth house. Jupiter is Swarashi. Jupiter is Swarashi, is the ninth lord, and with Moon. So this ninth house becomes quite powerful just because Jupiter is Swarashi and with the Moon. Although it has Mars influence, it has Rahu influence, but still, this house is not a very difficult house. It's actually strong just because Jupiter, Moon are there. And where is Saturn aspecting? 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is a very very happening house. So everything is there. Everything is happening. Rahu's aspect, Saturn's aspect, Mars is there, Moon is there, Jupiter is there. In the area of philosophy, father, spirituality, a lot of things are there, ups and downs, and you need to look into what has happened into her life, what she has experienced. There should be a lot of ups and downs when it comes to the significations given by the ninth house. This prediction can be done very easily. So this is Angelina Jolie. So this is the horoscope of B.V. Raman. So B.V. Raman was is an iconic figure in Vedic astrology. He's probably one of the among the contemporary astrologers. He's probably one of the greatest astrologers we have seen. He's an institute in himself, and there are institutes running in India. P.V. Raman Astrology Institutes, and he has his magazine. He's no more now, but he's one of the most prominent astrologers in the last century from in what India has produced. So let us look at what is happening here. So we look at the ascendant, and we see that the ascendant is Aquarius, and the lord of the ascendant is Saturn. And Saturn is aspecting its own house. So we saw that in the Padadipika words that even if it is a malefic aspecting its own house, it will exclusively bring good results. So This is this house becomes strong because of Saturn's aspect. Let us look at what all aspects are there. We have Venus and Mercury, two benefics aspecting this house. So, two benefics aspecting first house lord aspecting first house. So first house is relatively well placed. We do have a Mars aspect here, which may cause some kind of a problem in either health, or maybe he might be having some injuries, because Mars denotes injuries, or it could be overthinking, mental stress, such kind of effects could be possible. But the three planets are making this house quite powerful. Do we have any other? Rahu is not aspecting, Sun is not aspecting, so a pretty good, powerful house. What else? What else? We have this. Look at this fourth house. You have fourth house Lord exalted in this house. It's not, no, it's not the Lord, but fourth house. Your Moon exalted in the fourth house, and the fourth house Lord is in Kendra, but we have exalted planet in the fourth house, which makes this house quite powerful. Actually, the exaltation of Moon also makes the sixth house powerful, but it has an exalted planet, and Moon is a benefic. And what else? Jupiter is a benefic aspecting the fourth house. So we have Saturn in fourth house, which is not good, which is malefic sitting here, but two positive aspects are there. No malefic other than Saturn. It's not super powerful, but yeah, slightly positive, I would say. Although the effects are cumulative, but relatively we can say that it's slightly positive. 10th house, Mars. Where is Mars? Mars is aspecting one, two, three, four. Mars is aspecting its own house. 10th house becomes, aspected by its own lord, because safe, powerful, with two benefics, Jupiter and Moon aspecting the Mars. So Mars has the similar story like the first house. The house lord is aspecting it. Here also house lord is aspecting it, and two benefics aspecting, two benefics aspecting, one malefic aspecting this, one malefic aspecting this. So the 10th and the first house, they become reasonably powerful. And for public fame, this is career, and this is, your self fame and publicity. So these two houses become powerful. You are in the you can become a public figure, a known figure. You can have a Wikipedia page or something, or maybe some kind of recognition you can get. So this makes his chart more powerful. There are other yogas which I am not getting into right now, but eighth and seventh, Venus and Mars making Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga in the Kendra, which is unbelievably powerful yoga. But we'll get into that later. But with the first verse of Phaladipika, we can say that first and tenth looks to be a pretty good house, pretty strong, doing well, and yeah, that kind of explains how why this chart is a good chart. So this is the chart of H.G. Wells, one of the most prolific writers of our times, greatest science fiction writers probably ever. His writings were able to, he was able to predict what is happening in future through his scientific writings. Uh, Extremely imaginative person. Let's see what's happening here. So we have Capricorn here, and the Lord of Capricorn is Saturn. It's in the 10th house. And what is its condition? It's in Libra, and Libra is exalted. Saturn is exalted here. So the ascendant Lord is exalted here. So it's good for the Saturn Lord, and it's with what, a benefic. Venus is a benefic, and how is the condition of Venus? Venus is in its own sign, so Venus is also very powerful. And Saturn is associated with a very, very powerful Venus. It, it itself is very powerful. So look at this 10th house. It becomes a strong house just because of exalted Saturn and Venus. Look at the ascendant, Jupiter. Now this Jupiter is debilitated, and this Moon is okay. This is no problem with the Moon, but two benefics are there in the house. But Jupiter is debilitated, so does that cause a problem? So there is one thing that Jupiter in Capricorn, if it's in the first house, is debilitated, but it's also Digbali. It has directional strength. So there is a positive effect also coming. But more than that, there is something called, which we have not studied yet. It's called Neech Bhanga. Neech Bhanga means if a planet is debilitated, then the effects of its debilitation can get cancelled through certain, if certain combinations exist. And one of the combination is that the sign in which it is getting debilitated, the lord of that sign is exalted in Kendra, and we see that. So there is a niche bhanga happening, and this is actually making this combination very, very powerful in his ascendant. So ascendant very strong, 10th house very strong. Let us see any malefic aspects if exist. So here we have Mars, and Mars has a aspect, so that there is a malefic aspect definitely. And we do have a Rahu aspect. Rahu is having its fifth aspect on this house, so two malefic. So a lot of things are happening. Note that this Jupiter, it's debilitated, and it's the lord of the 12th and the third house, so it's not a benefic planet for this horoscope because it owns two dushtanas. It's a Prabal Maraka. So a lot is happening here, and when it comes to his fame and life or health, if you go into the life, there will definitely be, since the results are cumulative, they don't cancel out. So you'll see a lot of ups and downs happening on all the significations of the first house. So that can be a prediction that can be made, and once you study his biography and see what all is happening here, this prediction should work well. Now look at this chart of Steven Spielberg. So Steven Spielberg is an Oscar-winning director. He's won many Oscars. Uh, let's look at his chart. What's happening in this chart? This is Gemini ascendant, and what is the Lord of Gemini? The Lord of Gemini is in the sixth house, so that's not good. Sixth house is a dusthana. It's not a good place to be in. Let us look at what's happening with the ascendant. So we have Sun and Mars aspecting the first house. So this is also not very positive. This means that the Lord is not in a good position. Sun and Mars, the two malefics aspecting. What more? You have Rahu and Saturn on both the side of the houses. So this house is hemmed by Rahu and Saturn. So this house gives you. I mean, it doesn't look like this house is very well placed. Look at Mercury. Mercury is with Ketu, Rahu and Ketu axis. So Mercury is also not very well placed. So from here we do not see too much of good things coming out of this horoscope. So what makes this horoscope a powerful horoscope? Let's see. Look at the fifth and 11th axis. Wow, three benefics in fifth house of creativity, intelligence. Oh, Is it not a powerful combination? Not only this, Lord of fifth house in its own house, well placed, right? So this house is a powerful house. Definitely, we cannot deny this thing. Not only this, these three are aspecting the 11th house. 11th house is also getting three benefic aspect. It's as strong as it can be. What's happening with the 11th house lord? So it's in Kendra. It's not aspecting. So, but there's nothing wrong. So, do we have any negative aspects? Let's look at Saturn. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, Saturn aspect is there. So you have three benefic aspects and one negative aspect here. Saturn's third aspect is in fourth house. Uh, yeah, I mean this the fourth house lord is in fourth and first house lord is in eighth house in sixth house with Ketu. So the fourth and first house are not performing well here because aspected by Saturn. This is aspected by Sun and Mars. So not very good signs here. But the fifth element, it's a very powerful axis, and fifth is probably the reason that has caught him the fame. What else? Is there anything else? Saturn is aspecting its own house here. Eighth house is quite powerful. It doesn't, and it has a Rahu aspect also, but eighth house doesn't have any benefics. No, the benefit aspect we have is of Jupiter here. But here Saturn is not aspecting. But okay, so ascendant houses having one positive thing is that the Jupiter aspect is there. So slight support here, but clearly it's the 511 axis that is giving him all the success that we can say. But there will be other reasons, there will be other yogas and deeper combinations which we have not discussed. But if we are looking at only the first words of Valdipika, then from that limited words, we are able to see some patterns which can tell us that is this a good horoscope, powerful horoscope, or what are the powerful houses, what is making this person do well. This is not the full interpretation, but it's a good start. And only working with this one verse, you can probably get a 30-40% accuracy, which is not bad. So I hope this was a good experience.